Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today I'm going to make a quick video talking about my EcoDiesel, my Dodge Ram EcoDiesel. The last video I posted about it, we were talking about how I almost blew the engine up in it because the oil pickup tube inside of the oil pan got clogged up with sludge. And I just wanted to make an updated video talking about the issue that caused the sludge and the fixes that I did in order to bulletproof this truck. In my opinion, this is probably good preventative maintenance or stuff to look for with your EcoDiesel to prevent it from clogging the pickup tube or something like that to cause a low oil pressure situation. So with that being said, I'm gonna kind of run you guys through, maybe show some pictures of when I did the work. It's been about 3,500 miles since I performed all this work, and the truck has been flawless. Obviously in the last video, if you guys saw it, the truck would run really low oil pressure, and then I would change the oil, clean the pickup tube, and then 500 miles later, the pickup tube would clog again. Like, it kept consistently clogging the pickup tube. So it would run fine for like, you know, 500 to 1,000 miles, and then the pickup tube would clog up again. So I found the issue that was actually clogging the pickup tube, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Unfortunately, it wasn't caused by Al Gore or Bidenomics or anything like that. But I did fix those issues as well, and I'll tell you guys. I'm gonna run through all the mods that I've done to this truck, and yeah. And currently, I'm just driving it. We got a new place, and we are cutting some trees down at the new place, and I'm pulling my 20-foot enclosed trailer. This truck pretty much has a trailer behind it all the time. You know, and it pulls like a dream for a half-ton pickup truck. It really does. And that's why I love this truck so much, to do all the work that I did to it. One thing that I would watch for after I would do an oil change and clean the pickup tube, I put a mechanical oil pressure gauge in it, and the gauge has been in the car since, or, you know, it's this aftermarket oil pressure gauge. This has been in here since the first time that I clogged the pickup tube and found that I had low oil pressure. So I have been following this and trusting this gauge over the dummy light down here. But currently the truck says 43, 42 PSI, and I'm running, you know, 44. So like it's a good gauge to decipher where the oil pressure should be. The oil pressure should be around that, but that's not an actual reading. So this is the actual reading, and it's good to have both to compare, to be like, oh, the truck is running lower than it should oil pressure. And that's when I knew, okay, the pickup tube is probably starting to clog up again. So for example, like right when I would clean the pickup tube, it'd run perfect oil pressure like it's supposed to, and then 500 to 1,000 miles later, when the dash would say 40, I'd only have 30 on the gauge, or 20. And then as it would get worse and worse, you know, it would be lower and lower. So like I said, I did that like 2 or 3 times before I found the real issue. All right, guys, so under the hood of the truck, to fix the real issue that I had going on with the sludge pickup tube issue, was the injector seals. So underneath, when you pull the injectors out of the valve cover, there's a copper seal that goes on the bottom of the injector, which butts it up against the head, and that seals in the compression. I had one of those copper seals was actually leaking combustion past the injector and into the valve cover. And the passenger side valve cover was actually burnt. So the valve covers on this engine are plastic, and all that combustion was going into the valve cover and then sludging up in like the corner of the valve cover. And I might be able to insert a picture to show you guys what I'm saying. When I pulled the valve cover off of it, there was a giant clump of sludge actually blocking the oil passage, and that sludge was just slowly falling into the oil pan and then up into the pickup tube. Oof. This chunk of sludge was lodged in the back of the passenger head where that injector was leaking. Here is another example. This is the first injector, this is the second injector, and that's the injector that was leaking. So I found, I think, one company that makes valve covers for this thing, and I think it was maybe like A1 Auto or 1A Auto or something like that. So I put valve covers on, new injector seals, new copper seals, and I went down in there with like a rifle cleaning kit, just like a wire brush on a drill, and I cleaned up the mating surface where that copper seal goes onto the head. I cleaned all that off, put new seals on, torqued them down, and then installed new valve covers. I did not replace any of the fuel lines. I reused all the fuel lines, and I ditched the factory intake manifold as well, because the factory intake manifold has a butterfly in it, and I replaced it with the Banks. I replaced it with the Banks intake manifold. I know you can't really see it, but this is an aftermarket. This is an aftermarket Banks intake manifold, which usually requires a throttle body delete, but I actually like modified the stock throttle body and took the blade out of it and cut the sides of it off, because if you don't have the aftermarket throttle body delete, you can't bolt this intake on. It doesn't actually fit. Like the stock throttle body doesn't fit. So like I cut the motor off of it and like did some kind of ghetto stuff to like get the blade. I cut the blade out of the center, cut the motor off of the side, and then plugged the port with like I tapped it to 1/8 inch, and then like JB welded a port plug into it on this side. Maybe one day I'll take this throttle body off and show you guys what I did to it, but I didn't want to wait another day or two, or I didn't want to wait another week or so to get the throttle body delete, so I made my own deleted throttle body. And then when I was working on the truck, I ended up breaking this thing off because I was laying up here the whole time and I never took this off like I should have, and it actually cracked, so I had to get a new one of those overflow bottles. But yeah, the truck's been flawless ever since I figured out that the injector seals were the causing the sludge to go into the valve cover, and then the valve cover to start melting, which these trucks are notorious for starting on fire, from the EGR cooler and probably the valve cover starting on fire, because like I said, they're plastic, and they probably start on fire because the injector seals start leaking hot combustion into the plastic valve cover. So as long as your injector seals are sealing, you should be good, and you probably won't have any of these issues. But the injector seals are another common thing that you guys should probably check out in order to alleviate any possibility of engine failure later or starting on fire. I did put an S&B intake on this truck, deleted the EGR cooler. I put a downpipe on it, like just the $100 or $150 eBay downpipe, which mates up to the factory exhaust. And then I got like a Dodge Gas, like a Ram Hemi Y-pipe muffler delete. So it's pretty much all straight pipe now, except for the two tiny little mufflers out by the tailpipe. But it's all stock exhaust minus a muffler delete, and obviously the big chunk up front that I replaced with the, you know, the downpipe from eBay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure now I know what to keep an eye on for this truck. Obviously keep doing my oil changes at 3,000 to 5,000 miles with 5W40 is what I've been running in it. Schaefer's engine oil or Rotella T6 is usually what I run in it. I might try out the Mobil 1 stuff too. I think there's actually like a truck Mobil 1 540 that you can run. I did forget to mention too that I did the PPE transmission pan. It's like a little bit deeper transmission pan with cooling fins on it. This transmission never gets really hot. The engine does run up to like 230 degrees if I'm pulling like, you know, kind of a big car in my enclosed trailer. The engine will get a little bit warm, but maybe I can look into doing like an oil cooler, or I should say the oil temp. The coolant temp is fine. but sometimes the oil temp I'll see 230 degrees, so like maybe I can look into getting a slightly bigger oil cooler for it, or an aftermarket oil cooler to help when I'm towing. Like if I tow the enclosed trailer with like a heavier car in it for more than like an hour at a time, that's when I'll see those higher oil temperatures. And I've considered running 1540 in this truck, but I don't know if I want to, living in Wisconsin, because it does get down to, you know, really cold here. And obviously with all the mods and stuff that I've done, I did have the truck tuned by Randy, ECODIESEL USA. I've tried to, he's like the only guy that I think is like able to tune these trucks. You know, there's a couple places in Canada, but like I've tried reaching out to them and they were kind of assholes to me, so I didn't really want to bother with the people in Canada. And I think some of the other guys that are tuning these trucks no longer do it for, you know, Al Gore reasons and stuff like that. I'm also not really sure why the injector seals fail. It's just a copper washer. So I was wondering possibly if like the hold down bolt bracket thing, it looks like a little rocker arm that just holds the injector down into the cylinder head. I almost wondered if maybe that hold down bolt got loose or something, or you know, the bolt's stretched or something. But I mean, after re-torquing everything down and tightening it down probably a half a turn farther than I should have, everything seems fine now. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the EcoDiesel video. You guys let me know if you want to see any other content with it. Hopefully if it doesn't break anymore, I won't make any more content with it. But if there's anything else with the truck you guys want to see, be sure to let me know. I've never worked on a diesel before this truck, so it was a little bit intimidating, and it reminded me of a Bible verse that I want to share with you guys. It's Deuteronomy 31 verses 6 through 8. Be strong, be fearless, don't be afraid, and don't be scared by your enemies, because the Lord your God is the one who marches with you. He won't let you down, and he won't abandon you. I kind of needed that through this truck because it was kind of a big project, and I didn't really know if I could tackle it. But bringing the Lord with me, I got this thing done, and I'm very proud of the outcome, and I'm very happy that the truck has been running great for a couple thousand miles now without any issues. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, that you know, if you don't think you're strong enough by yourself, bring the Lord with you. Anyways, God bless guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. We'll see you later.